All right, y'all. It's 10 o'clock my time, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which means it's time to move around. It's time to get swinging some clubs. It's time to get the mind and body right for another week. As always, feel free to have some sort of music on. Just make sure you can hear me. Other than that, we're going to be good to go. Quick disclaimer, smoke passing through the screen. Don't worry, my studio is not on fire. I just have incense burning. I have got some messages in the last couple weeks making sure that I'm okay. I am okay. It's just incense. So we're going to move around. As always, we're going to start off with 5 minutes of body weight just to get the body moving and get the mind and the body ready for some club work. Then we're going to be going into some club work. We'll start off with our 5 minutes of circles. Following that, we're going to start building today's pattern. In today's pattern, we're going to be very focused on asynchronous movement. So we're going to start it off very, very slow, very, very landmark heavy. And then as you are comfortable, you will feel free to make it a little bit smoother, to iron out those seams a little bit, to make it nice and beautiful as you'll be able to, which I know you will be beautiful. It'll be awesome. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm excited. I am ready to create some movement with y'all. So let's get ready. Let's get some space. We're going to start off with that little bit of mobility. We'll start with the neck to begin. We are going to glance up and we are going to glance back down. I'm going to do my best to keep ribs locked down, core tight. I have myself on the spotlight. Fantastic. So if I'm the large thing on your screen, that'll be easiest for you. Good. Let's glance left and right now. So still doing our best to keep everything nice and locked down. We're just glancing from side to side, pressing into our end range of motion. Throughout our 5 minutes of mobility here, we're using this 5 minutes to find those tension points and see if there's any areas we're going to need to work with and work around, and just to get that mind in the mindset, to get into the mindset of swinging clubs. Good, we'll tilt from side to side. I like to drive my opposite arm down, searching for a little extra tension, maybe right down into those fingertips if I'm a little extra tight, which today I am, so I'm feeling that right down to my fingertips. Good. I'm going to slide that chin front and back now, hand just here to illustrate that the chin is staying level. It's gliding forward, it's gliding back, it's no longer tilted and turning. I might move that incense to the other side of the camera. It is taking up a lot of the screen. Good, we'll slide from side to side. Don't want to distract y'all. Good, let's take it to a rotation now. We're going to draw a circle. Still doing our best to keep that chin nice and level. We're not tilting and turning. We're sliding and gliding. We're owning our position, owning our movement. And let's switch that direction now. A nice smooth circle, nice smooth rotation. Good. All right, now making sure we're keeping those ribs locked down, we're going to have the palm facing forward, lift it up to stop, rotate it, and circle through. So I'm driving this side of my chest forward. I'm owning my position. I'm not allowing my body to turn. I'm trying to keep that nice strong line, pressing into that tension. Good, let's switch sides, same idea. Palm is forward, up to stop, rotate and circle through, keeping chest and shoulders pointed forward, not twisting, turning, or rotating in that trunk. If anything, trying to drive that side of the chest a little further forward. Good, let's go ahead and put an arm out to the side. We'll find rotation. We're going to rotate right up into that shoulder. We're going to find stick and tension in both directions. We're pressing into end range of motion, finding that tension, opening it up in the shoulder ready. Good, and we'll switch sides again, finding that rotation, pressing into that end range of motion, opening up, finding your tension and embracing it. Good, we're going to throw that arm in front now. We're going to pull it back and press it down. We'll find rotation from that position. Again, rotating right up into that shoulder, finding your stick and your tension in both directions. We're pressing into it to open it up. Good, we'll switch sides, again, finding that rotation in that shoulder, pressing into the end range, opening it up, getting it ready to work. Good, let's go into those wrists now. Our fingers are wide, our elbows are straight. We're gonna raise them both, pressing into that end range of motion, finding that tension, both directions. We're embracing that. Good, we'll take it to rotation now. Keep those fingers wide, elbows straight. We're pressing into that end range of motion, finding that tension. And switching directions. Good, and finger fan now. Stacking the fingers on top of the index finger, fanning them open, stacking them on the pinky, fanning open, and back onto the index, going back and forth like that. Big fanning motion, opening those hands up nice and wide, getting those fingers ready. All right, very good. I'll shake that out. We're going to take a minute here, grab some fluid, get some clubs in your hand. We're going to start off with our 5 minutes of circles. We'll be starting with an outward circle, a synchronous outward circle, and we'll go from there. I just saw your message now, Anna. I'm glad you're able to get on. Fantastic. Okay. So we've got clubs in hand. We're ready to get swinging some circles or full moons. If you've heard, I'm considering rebranding circles into full moons. I just think it's cooler. But let's go ahead and grab those clubs. We'll toss them up in that wide shape, keeping that nice saber grip, and let's trace that nice big outward circle or outward full moon, if you will. Good, so we're owning that nice saber grip, finding the length in those clubs, finding that nice big beautiful circle, the fullest of full moons, nice and smooth with it, nice and controlled with it. Good, let's start getting those wrists involved now by adding a forward moulinet. So we're allowing those clubs to drop from that saber position. We're not clocking back into a hammer. We're owning the saber to saber swing. At first, you may be pausing in your Y shape. That's totally fine. Eventually, the goal is to keep the arms traveling through the moulinet, which will actually aid the moulinet. Good, using any transition you see fit. I'm personally going to use an Indian cross. Let's go into an inward full moon or inward circle. So, same idea, tracing that nice big circle, that nice big full moon, owning our saber grip, smooth and controlled. Finding some length from that club, but if you find your traps light up a ton in this, odds are you're allowing your shoulders to rise as opposed to keeping them packed. So we can shut those traps off a little bit by trying to pull the shoulder blades into our back pockets. Might be worth your time. Good, and same idea, let's get those wrists involved now. So let's do a reverse moulinet in our T on our way up. You may find that you pause in your T at first, and that's totally fine. But the eventual goal will be to travel through the whole motion. Good. Coming up next, we're going to transition into a parallel circle left. Any transition you see fit. I'm going to use a cast personally, and I'm into my circle. So parallel circles and parallel full moons. Rip the floor apart with your feet a little bit. Own your positioning. Don't allow those clubs to pull you from side to side. Own your line. Keep that nice big saber, that nice strong saber grip, that nice extension. Letting those clubs stay roughly the same width or cool time. Good. We're going to switch directions now. Again, feel free to use any transition you see fit. I'm going to use a Moulinet Indian cross combo. Good. So we're going full moons, parallel full moons right now, or parallel circles, right? Nice and smooth, nice and controlled, owning the lines, owning the extension, owning that saber grip. Good. Next up, we're going to be going into a forward parallel circle or forward full moon. Using any transition you see fit. I use a cast to get into these personally. I'm going to let a drop in front of me, and it splashes up beside me. Dropping up in front, comes along the side and back, cuts across the body, does the same on the other side. And owning that nice saber grip, smooth and controlled with it. And using any transition we see fit, I'm going to use the cast. We'll go into a backward full moon, or backward parallel circle for one. Good. Let's go ahead and take a pause. Good. Minute out. That was 5 minutes of circles or 5 minutes of full moons. We'll take a minute here. We're going to start into today's pattern. Again, it is going to be it is an asynchronous pattern. So as such, we're going to be working some asynchronous movement. I'll teach you the outward variation of this flow, this pattern, whatever you want to call it. Then if we have time, we'll look at the inward, but we'll for sure get through the outward. There, for some of you, will be a new move introduced, but for the most part, it's definitely no. It is just now moving into an asynchronous pattern or an asynchronous flow, which is different than what we normally do. Of course, we do a lot of synchronous movement, so I figured we should finish the month off with some asynchronous. Luckily, we've already warmed up the first movement of this flow, that being those full moons or circles. So now we're going to do some asynchronous outward full moons or asynchronous outward circles. So please grab those clubs, toss them in the block. What we're going to do to begin is landmark heavy. So one club is going to stay up here, the other draws the circle. And then they switch. One draws the circle, one stays pinned. This is our level 1 asynchronous. If this is where you're at, fantastic. If this is comfortable, you start finding the clubs traveling at the same time. You take that asynchronous pattern, making sure the clubs are falling out each time. We're smooth, we're controlled. And again, wherever you're at, if you're at the level 1 asynchronous, fantastic. If you're at the level 2 asynchronous, fantastic. Good, let's go ahead and pause it again in our Y shape. Next movement up, asynchronous heart shapes, outward heart shapes. The same idea. Level 1, one club stays pinned. I execute a heart shape on the other, and then I switch. Getting my transition hammer to saber, saber to hammer, smooth and controlled. If that's no problem, I take it to true asynchronous, meaning arms are traveling consistently, constantly. Still finding that nice transition, hammer to saber, saber to hammer, and owning whatever level we're at. Again, if we want to get that practice in one side and then the other, absolutely fantastic. If we want them moving at the same time, that's great as well. Good, let's pause it in our Y shape. Okay, so this is the new one for some of you. This is called a crescent moon. So we'll actually be in our T shape here. What I'm going to do, and let's just do one side at first. So let's take the other club, park it on the head. From my T, I'm going to scoop down just like we do in those heart shapes, bringing the club up just like we do in the heart shapes. But now instead of flicking to hammer grip, I'm going to drop into ring grip, meaning just my thumb is holding the club pinned next to the right underneath my index finger. From here, I'm going to turn my palm so it faces me, and it continues to face me, going right across the length of my shoulders until it's out at the end. From there, I turn my palm down, which puts the club back in my saber grip. Scoop, drop to ring, gesture out. That hand goes out in a nice straight line across the shoulders, turning so the palm faces the ground in that T shape to end up back in my, my scoop. So this is an outward crescent moon. So again, I'm bringing it here, dropping it into the ring. Hand goes straight across my shoulders, turns in my T shape to get back to my saber grip. And then when we find some momentum, we find some yin with that, we find some swing. If you're wondering why it's called a crescent moon, watch the head of my club. Deep semicircle, smaller semicircle. Essentially, they trace a crescent moon, which is why I call it a crescent moon. The key is that nice drop into the ring grip. All my fingers are off except for the thumb. My palm faces me the whole time until it turns. Good. All right, let's try the other side now. So from our T, we're going to scoop. Instead of flicking to hammer, we drop to ring. Palm stays facing me until it's out at the end where it turns back down. And I'm good to continue on. Good. Letting that nice drop into ring occur. I like to think of it as like a half moulinette, right? This is a moulinette. If I go halfway and then splash open, I create this nice big crescent moon. Fighting for that nice T shape, turning that palm down so I'm in a nice strong saber grip. Good, let's take a quick pause there. We'll take a minute out just to let that digest a little bit, to get some fluid in you if you need it, and so you can ask questions if any questions have arisen through that movement. Awesome. So the key is that nice ring grip. It will not be as smooth if I try and do it like this. It just won't be. If I can let it drop into that ring and I can really get deep in that ring grip, I'm gonna have a smooth movement. If you notice, when I drop into my ring, I try and get it as deep as I can. As the arm is coming across, the club is like in line with the arm. And that allows that nice smooth swing. See how it kind of like passes my arm there, almost like I'm doing a moulinette. Cool. All right, so we're going to take it into our asynchronous crescent moons now. So, U-shape. I'm going to let one arm go, and then the other as my level one, right? Just like before, one club stays pinned, one club travels. If I can get comfortable with that, it becomes continuous motion. I think this is one of the easier moves to do asynchronous movement with, as the clubs are essentially traveling in the same direction. We see this. One is just tracing the upper crescent of the moon, the other is tracing the bottom crescent of the moon. I'm still fighting for my nice T shapes, and I'm remembering that my level one, of course, keeps one club pinned. One club pinned in my level one, level two, constant motion. Getting that nice transition from saber to ring, whether I'm going with my level 1 or my level 2. I'm remembering nice strong ring grip, owning the positioning, owning the movement. If you want to take this from level 1 to level 2, what I recommend, get one arm up for the crescent and then let the other arm drop. And they follow each other. All right, very good. Cool, let's go ahead and take a pause there. Sweet. So the pattern goes circle, heart, crescent, heart, circle. Smooth and controlled, owning our movement, we'll go asynchronous. We're going to start off by doing 1 minute of each movement through the whole thing. We'll pause, we'll go through lesser and lesser and lesser. You know the drill, we build our flows a very specific way. One thing to keep in note, you can feel free to do level 1 or level 2, either works through all the movements, meaning one club can stay pinned as the other club travels, or they can both continuously travel. That is entirely up to you and the level you're currently at. You do you, y'all. So again, we'll do a minute of circles, minute hearts, minute crescent moons, minute hearts, minute circles. It will be a 5-minute set. We will take a pause. We will start narrowing it down from there. So let's go ahead and grab those clubs. We're gonna get lots of asynchronous work in today, y'all. We're tossed into our Y. Again, level 1, one club stays pinned. Level 2, constant motion. Let's go for some circles. So level 1, one club is staying pinned. Level 2, constant motion. Circles, full moons. Remembering, I'm trying to rebrand. Takes a while to rebrand. Cool, we're making nice big circles. Nice big full moon, smooth and controlled. I'm not allowing myself to get yanked around a whole lot. A lot of people end up kind of swinging side to side. Own your line. Stay controlled. We move the clubs do not move us. And again, playing with either level, but if you're at that level 1, remembering the goal will be to get to that level 2. So I'm going to be trying it every once in a while. Good, our next movement up are those asynchronous heart shapes. Easy transition, let's just go into them. Boom, boom, boom. And if we're level 1, one club is staying pinned as the other travels. Level 2, constant motion. Nice and smooth with it, nice and controlled with it. Owning it, finding that nice big extension still into our Y shape. Interestingly, people in synchronous movement have troubles getting into the Y. They want to stick with the T. In asynchronous, very frequently, people go into their I instead of their Y. We still want to target that nice Y shape. We still want to own that grip transition, hammer to saber, saber to hammer. Again, we're staying locked down. We are in control. We move clubs do not move us. Good, we have our crescent moves up next, and again, it is a very simple transition. We just allow it to occur. So instead of flicking into my hammer, I just allow the club to drop to the ring, and I'm out. Then level 1, club stays pinned as the other club travels. Level 2, continuous motion from both clubs. Either level will work right now. We're fighting to keep smooth. We're fighting to keep controlled. So nice deep ring grip, palm faces you, stays turning to face your face until it turns out at the end there. Yes? Ooh. Good, coming up next, we're going to be back into our asynchronous hearts. So we're in our level 1, get nice and simple. We will let one club travel and pin into our Y now. And we'll go into those Asynchronous hearts, again, level 1 having it pinned, level 2, constant motion, either one works. Feel free to play with whatever you're comfortable with, remembering to strive. Good, we're still getting that nice transition, hammer to saber, saber to hammer. We're owning our movement, owning our lines, owning our shapes. We're targeting our Y here, smooth and controlled. Good, and we have those full moons up next. Again, a nice simple transition. If we're in our level 1s, we'll just allow one arm to turn into that circle and pin before the other. If we're in our level 2, keeping it constant. Good, we'll go ahead and pause in our Y, and we'll take a minute out here. Very good, another good 5 minutes of swings there. Good, so if there's questions on that flow, there's questions on the technique of any of the pieces, feel free to holler out. All right, so we're gonna narrow it down now. Next up, we're gonna go through it twice at 30 seconds a pop. So again, it'll be a 5-minute set. We'll go through the whole flow 2 times. We'll continue to narrow it down from there. Remember, we can go level 1 or level 2 technique. Level 1 technique being keeping one club pinned as the other club travels. Level 2 technique, keeping those clubs moving the whole time. Either way is asynchronous. Asynchronous is what we're focused on. I'm happy with either. So circle, heart, crescent, moon, heart, circle, or full moon, heart, crescent, moon, heart, full moon. Go ahead and grab those clubs. We'll go up into our Y shape, and we'll hit some full moons in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Again, level 1, club stays pinned. Level 2, constant motion. Working whatever level you're currently comfortable with. Finding that nice big full moon. Owning my saber grip, keeping it smooth and controlled. If you wanted the level 3 asynchronous, that would be the animal lab. Good, we have our hearts coming up next. Again, if we're in the level 1, one club pins. We're in the level 2, constant motion. Transition from level 2 to level 2. Again, it's just constant motion, keeping it going. Good, we have those asynchronous crescent moons up next. So the level 1 is from the T shape, painting one arm as the other travels. Level 2, again T shape, but we're allowing the clubs to travel at the same time. Good, let's go back into that heart. Again, level 1, keeping it pinned. Level 2, constant motion. Good, let's take it to those circles. In level 1, club is pinned. Level 2, constant motion. Each time I'm dropping those clubs out, creating that nice, smooth, controlled circle. Owning my full moon, owning my control, owning my saber grip. Good, let's transition back into those hearts. In level 1, a club is pinned. Level 2, constant motion, smooth and controlled here. And we have our crescent moons up next. So if we're pinning, we're doing so from T-shape. We're able to keep constant for that level 2. Feel free. Good, let's let this transition back into our hearts. Again, if level 1, we're keeping pinned. Level 2, we're keeping consistent motion. Good, let's take it into a circle, or a full moon, if you will. Good, so we're making sure we're going outward. I see a couple people going inward. Good, let's pause in our live. Good, we'll take a minute here. Good, y'all. Good, good. So just remember, we're constantly sending out from the heart. Right? Out from the heart. Out from the heart. Out from the heart. Focus on the outward pattern today. Outward flow. Cool. Time to narrow it down further. We're going to go down to just 15 seconds per movement. We're going to go through the entire flow 4 times. Nice and smooth, nice and controlled, remembering the breathing, owning our lines. Level 1, we pin. Level 2, constant motion. If you're in level 1 for some moves, level 2 for others, awesome. Mix and match, feel free. We're going to go through it again, 15 seconds per movement, 4 times through the entire flow. We'll pause from there and we'll talk how we progress. So, clubs in hand, toss them in our line. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Outward circles, outward full moons, level 1 or level 2, owning our positioning. And into that heart. And crescent moon. Level 1 or level 2, you do you. And hearts. And circles or full moons. This is the end of the first one, the start of the second one. We'll dive into the second one right from here. Meaning what we're going to be transitioning into now is an outward heart. Again, level 1, pinning the club. Level 2, keeping it in motion. And remember, we don't need to be moving fast. We're going to own our position, smooth and controlled. Good. Into our crescents. And into our hearts. And circles. End of the second set of the flow. beginning of the third. We're keeping smooth and controlled, knowing that we're going into our hearts next as part of our third set of flow. And let's go on into it. And crescent moon. And back into that heart. And circle. Good, we're going to go through it one more time, smooth and controlled. So we'll be going into our hearts next, and let's go ahead and go into those hearts. And crescent moons. Hearts. And full moons. Good, and let's take a pause. Very good. We're going to take a minute out here, a little shake, a little movement. Coming up next, we're going to do it again, this time just 10 seconds per. So it'll only be a couple reps per movement. If you're using the level 1, maybe a couple more if you're using the level 2, but probably not a lot of reps either way. This is a good thing because we're narrowing it down to 1 rep of each, which we'll be getting into like right after this round. So smooth and controlled. Couple you need to slow down. Feel you're moving those gloves real fast. A heart shape should be a 3 count. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Based on a wall. Does that make sense, everyone? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. But let's go into the pattern. 10 seconds per, starting with full moons. We're in our Y, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Either going level 1 or level 2, up to you. Let's go into those hearts now. Again, level 1 or level 2. And crescents. Heart shapes. Circles. Hearts. Crescents. Hearts. Circles. Hearts. Crescent moon. Hearts. Circles. hearts, crescent moons, heart shape, full moons, hearts, crescent moon, heart shapes, full moons, hearts, crescent moon, heart shapes, circles, or full moons, hearts, crescent moon, heart shapes, full moons, hearts. We'll go one more time through. Crescent, hearts, full moons, and pausing that one. Very good. We'll take a little more than a minute out here. Shake it around, move it around a little bit. If you got questions, call them up. Okay, so time to build a full pattern. We're going to go right down to one rep each. How we're going to be able to do this is utilizing level 1 to begin. So we'll go through a few reps of the level 1, the entire pattern all together. Then you can feel free to play on your own, practicing and either keeping that level 1 or starting with the level 1, seeing if we can get comfortable with it to the point where we can go into the level 2. So let me change my music real quick. Not good for club swinging. Neither is that. That'll work. So we're gonna make some. We'll go full moon, heart, crescent moon, full heart, full moon. Sorry, I have a very similar pattern to this. The brain just broke there for a second. Full moon, heart, crescent moon, heart, full moon, back to heart, crescent, heart, full, heart, crescent, heart, full, heart, crescent, heart, full, back, forth, like that. Allow me to demo our level 1. Looks like this. And back through. Our level 2, when we are comfortable, It's the same thing, just one is pinned compared to the other's constant motion. So we're going to do it together in the level 1. We're going to go all the way from, we'll go full moon, heart, crescent, heart, full moon, heart, crescent, heart, full moon, heart, crescent, heart, full moon, all together at level 1. After that, the rest of the session will be your play time to either go or to continue working level 1 or to try and segue to level 2 or to ask questions. So let's grab our clubs. Ring fingers anchored over that pommel, pinkies on the pommel. We're up in our nice, beautiful saber grip. Let's start with our left side. It's going to do a circle. Boom, or full moon. Other arm. Boom. Left arm heart. Left arm heart. Left arm crescent to my T shape. Right arm crescent to my T shape. Left arm heart. Right arm heart. Left arm circle. Right arm circle. Left arm heart. Right arm heart. Left arm crescent to T shape. Right arm crescent to T shape. Left arm heart to Y. Right arm heart to Y. Left full moon, right full moon. Good. Left heart, right heart, left crescent, right crescent, left heart, right heart, left full moon, right full moon, and pause. Cool. So that's the pattern. That is the level 1 pattern. We're going to take a minute here to let that digest. At the end of this minute, we're going to go for 4 minutes, pardon me, 4 minutes of moving those clubs around. Okay, you're going to have the 4 minutes to do you, meaning start with level 1. Once you're comfortable level 1, try and unlock that level 2. If you get to level 2 really quickly, the level 3 would be add a moulinet to your full moon, add a moulinet to your heart shape. So don't worry about adding anything to the crescents right now. Circles, moons, hearts. Cool. So you're in level 1, keeping a club pinned. Level 2, constant motion. Level 3, adding a moulinet. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do each. I'm going to do a level 1, then a level 2, then a level 3, then a level 1, then a level 2, then a level 3, and so on. So let's go ahead and get ready. 4 minutes of playtime in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Again, level 1 is keeping an arm pinned. Level 2 is constant once you're comfortable with that. We're through our first minute of play. Good, we're through 2. Good. We have 1 minute left. Very good, y'all. And let's take a pause there. Very good. So that is what I have for you today. Thank you for swinging some clubs with me. Your homework, should you choose to accept it, would be to continue practicing that. So you mastered level 1, have got level 2 down, and hey, maybe even level 3. So as always, the homework, do that flow a lot, really hammer it home, really own it. Especially those crescent moons, there's a lot of opportunity with crescent moons, especially if you can do them in an asynchronous format. There's, of course, an inward version of that entire flow as well. Feel free to figure that out. And those crescent moons can be used for transition, pro tip. But that's what I got for you. Thank you very much for logging on. See you again. Much love.